Now let's talk about the commission and the fees. So commission is 15%. Fees about 15%. 30% you pay. You know when you pay that 30%? When you make the sale. If you make no sale, you don't pay anything.
You pay storage fees.
But when you're driving traffic to your website, it's not indexed to sales. So therefore, I say even between the three. Now, factor into this the fact that you are going to still pay the fulfillment. If you have a 3PL, you're going to pay 3PL per order, plus you're going to pay the postage or whatever, which is not zero. So you're not actually gaining the 30%. You're gaining maybe, and by the way, if your FBA fees is 15% on Amazon, there is no way you're going to achieve 15% if you fulfill yourself. No way. Because just by using the post office or anything else, your minimum fee per package is going to be higher than what Amazon charges you on average, mainly because Amazon charges you fixed no matter where the product ships. The other way is flexible. You will never know how much a SKU is costing you to fulfill. Never. Because one day, one order goes to New York, another order goes to California, and you're shipping from Ohio. You know, God help you figuring out how much. So there is no predictability in your fulfillment fees when it comes to putting the fees. So for starters, there is no way that I will be convinced that fees are on the side of website launch. It's always better for you because you have predictability, and if you do your revenue model right, then you will be able to handle it. Inventory. Okay. Inventory is actually the biggest part. So the idea of carrying less inventory if you're selling on your website versus Amazon is not actually true, because it doesn't matter whether you're launching on your website or on Amazon. You're going to have to make a purchase for your initial batch. You're going to have to get that produced and shipped over. Doesn't matter where you're selling. So the key here is the continuity. So how much do you have to order in order to keep ordering? So therefore, in fact, I would argue that launching on Amazon is better with the same amount. So bottom line, you're going to have to order the same amount of inventory. It doesn't matter where you're launching. What will happen is the inventory you purchased will last longer on your website, because clearly you're not going to generate as many sales. But that goes against you because time has a cost. And you're financing that inventory. You're going to end up paying for it before you get paid for it. So if you launch on Amazon, your sales velocity will be far greater than launching on your website. So inventory definitely is on your side if you launch on Amazon. And limited exposure as far as what Amazon allows you based on your performance, because the impressions are, yes, that's true. Then I ask, is that a good thing or a bad thing? If your listing is not converting, if your listing does not have demand, your pricing is wrong, is it better to throw good money after bad? Amazon is already protecting you by not giving you the exposure because your product is not yet ready. So that's my take. I may be wrong. I'm willing to accept, and I may be 100% wrong, but I like the argument that, you know, if your product is not good, it's not going to get the exposure, so therefore you won't spend money. But I'll take that. And owning the customer that you can do anything with. Once they buy on your website, they are on your mailing list, you have a direct relationship, you can send them here, there. 100% true. You will own the customer. and at the end, you can do anything you want. You can do new launches and blah blah. Launch on Amazon. That is definitely a good thing for launching on your website. My only question, I would not discount it at all. It's a legitimate reason. My only question that I would want people to consider is, at what cost are you doing this? Because if you do things right and then you have a good package insert and you have a good program, you can actually gain some of those Amazon customers to come on your side and then be direct a percentage of them. So if you do things right, you will get an X number of shoppers getting on your list even after launching on Amazon during that time frame. So I would say, okay, how many have you acquired launching on Amazon in, let's say, 3 months? And then turn around and how much have you spent for that in your promotional efforts? And then turn around and check how many have you acquired, at what cost, and how much have you spent, and then do the cost per customer acquisition. That would be a good way, but of course it's very hard to make the direct comparison. So these are the things that I heard. Now I'm going to add 2 things that absolutely justifies launching on Amazon first. And it goes back to how I set up the debate, where new seller going from either nothing or going from a completely conventional distribution to selling online. First of all, selling online requires certain kind of discipline and a significant amount of infrastructure in terms of managing the whole operation as a whole. Typically, someone who's never done this before, my guess is they've got, if they are lucky, Excel sheets or Google Sheets and QuickBooks. That's all they have. That is affordable and kind of familiar to them. Someone who's selling through supply chain, they have a bunch of people that primarily focus on shifting as many units as possible in the shortest amount of time as possible. That is a totally different culture. Whether you're coming from nothing with no systems, no understanding, or wholesale distribution mentality to going online, Amazon or otherwise, it's a whole different behavioral and talent shift, which usually is the hardest and takes the longest. To make that shift overnight is not possible. So you're going to have to take your time. So while taking your time, you're going to have to build the infrastructure. So now I ask the question, what would you like to spend your time on? Building infrastructure, driving traffic, buying inventory, looking at the numbers, providing customer service, blah, 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 blah. Or just driving sales and then doing one step at a time.
Now
So
about
therefore, so that part is one.